There is a silent crisis running through our generation. Most men today fail not because they lack talent, not because they lack opportunities, but for a much deeper and more unsettling reason. They have lost touch with who they truly are. This is the conclusion Robert Greene has reached. Let me know in the comments if you've ever felt this same confusion, if you've ever felt unsure about your place in the world. Today, I want to share Greene's perspective on the crisis of modern masculinity, and more importantly, how to transform this confusion into power for yourself. Before we begin, I just ask for 3 seconds of your time to subscribe to the channel. I produce every video on my own, and your support genuinely helps me improve my work. According to Greene, we live in an era where the word masculinity has almost become an insult. For a young man growing up today, there is a constant and contradictory message coming from every direction. He feels this energy inside him, this testosterone flowing through his veins, this natural competitiveness, this burning ambition, this desire to assert himself in the world. And yet, at the same time, he is told that all of this is wrong, that it is toxic, that he should tone it down and stay in his place. This is where Greene puts his finger on the wound. Of course, toxic masculinity exists. Denying it would be foolish. But the problem is that everything has been lumped together. We've forgotten that there are deep virtues within masculinity, qualities that built civilizations, protected communities, and created beauty. These virtues must be redefined and rediscovered, because modern culture no longer offers clear role models, and this leaves young men in a dangerous limbo, unable to truly find themselves and pushed instead toward becoming toxic caricatures of figures like Andrew Tate. Greene recalls his own youth, growing up watching westerns where the hero was the quiet, Gary Cooper-type figure, not the man who shouted or bragged, but the man who had control over himself. And this leads to the first major lesson Greene wants to pass on. True masculinity is not uncontrolled aggression, and it is not about dominating others to feel strong. True masculinity begins with self-control. It is the ability to possess all that energy, all that strength, all that fire inside you, and direct it towards something constructive, instead of letting it consume you or harm others. One fundamental point Greene emphasizes is that treating women well is not weakness. It is strength. This is a crucial distinction that many modern men fail to understand. When you respect a woman, when you treat her with consideration and dignity, you are not acting from insecurity or submission. You are acting from a position of genuine strength. You are so secure in your masculinity that you do not need to diminish anyone to feel like a man. You don't need to constantly prove that you're alpha. You don't need degrading language or childish displays of dominance. Men who do these things, who brag about their conquests, who speak poorly of women, who constantly try to prove how masculine they are actually revealing deep insecurity, and others can see it. They are shouting to the world, "Please believe I'm a real man because I don't believe it myself." Many behaviors that appear powerful today actually come from deep wells of weakness. When Greene sees leaders who constantly boast, who always need to remind others how great they are, how much money they have, how many women they've conquered, he doesn't see strength. He sees an insecure child desperately seeking external validation. True strength does not need to announce itself. True confidence does not need to be declared every 5 minutes. It is quiet, calm, and solid like a rock. So if modern culture has created this confusion, and if positive role models are disappearing, what should a young man do? This is where Greene becomes extremely practical. You cannot eliminate your nature. That competitiveness, that aggression, that ambition, that testosterone driving you to conquer the world, these are powerful tools. The problem isn't having them. The problem is not knowing how to use them. It's like owning a Ferrari engine without knowing how to drive. You'll end up crashing. Greene offers his own life as an example, and this is especially illuminating. He admits that he has all these impulses. He's not a Zen monk free of desire or aggression. He is competitive, ambitious, and at times angry at the world. But instead of letting that energy explode destructively by hurting people around him, he channeled it into his books. When he wrote the 48 Laws of Power, he poured all of his aggression and disgust toward manipulation and human cruelty into its pages. He took that fire and turned it into something productive. This is the key: channeling. Sports are the obvious example. You take all that aggression and put it on the field, in the ring, or in the gym. But there are countless other paths. You can channel it into building a business that dominates the market, not through corruption, but through excellence. You can channel it into art, writing, or music. You can channel it into becoming so damn good at what you do that no one can ignore you. The point is not to suppress who you are. The point is to become the master of yourself. This brings us to what Greene considers one of the most important masculine virtues: discipline. Not discipline imposed from the outside, but self-discipline. The ability to say no to yourself when necessary. The ability to remain silent when silence is more powerful. The ability not to react impulsively to every provocation. This is true strength. Anyone can lose control and shout. It takes a truly strong man to maintain control when every fiber of his being wants to explode. Greene firmly believes that these qualities are not random social constructs, but are rooted in male biology. He believes men naturally possess certain tendencies, energies, and ways of engaging with the world that differ from those of women. And instead of denying these differences or feeling guilty about them, men should embrace them and then elevate them. Competitiveness, for example, is not a flaw to be corrected. It is a gift to be used. You want to win? Good. Build something that wins in the marketplace. Create a product so superior that competition becomes irrelevant. Become so excellent in your field that you are the obvious choice. But do it with integrity. Win not because you cheated or crushed others, but because you were better. That is healthy masculinity. That is authentic strength. Greene also observes that ambition, especially in men, has been demonized. Yet ambition is what moves the world forward. It built skyscrapers, explored new continents, cured diseases, and created timeless art. The problem isn't ambition itself. The problem is ambition untempered by virtue. Ambition so blind that you're willing to step on anyone to climb higher. But ambition guided by sound principles. Ambition in service of something greater than yourself is a gift to the common good. What Greene is really telling young men, perhaps men like you, is this: you must be comfortable with who you are. You must stop apologizing for your masculine nature. That energy, that drive, that controlled aggression, that competitiveness, these are tools. They are neither good nor bad in themselves. They are like a knife. You can use it to prepare a nourishing meal, or you can use it to harm someone. The choice is yours. The failure of most modern men comes from this fundamental disconnection. Either they try to completely suppress their nature and become passive, apathetic, and directionless, or, terrified of that outcome, they swing to the opposite extreme and become toxic caricatures, men who constantly need to prove their masculinity through destructive behavior. Both paths lead to emptiness. The path Greene suggests is different. It is the path of the man who knows himself, who accepts his nature and elevates it. The man who has discipline without rigidity, who is competitive without cruelty, ambitious without ruthlessness, who treats women with respect not because he is weak, but because he is strong. The man who doesn't need to brag because his results speak for themselves. The man who has control over himself and precisely because of that can have a real impact on the world. This is the challenge Greene offers young men. Rediscover the virtues of your masculinity. Not the toxic stereotypes, but the real virtues. Self-control, discipline, quiet strength, respect earned through excellence, ambition guided by principles, and competitiveness channeled into creation rather than destruction. These are the tools that will turn your confusion into power you can use to your advantage. What do you think about this message? Let me know in the comments, and if you found this video helpful, consider subscribing to the channel. I create every video on my own, and your feedback truly helps me grow. See you next time.